For so much of my life, I didn't want to draw attention to myself because attention was often unwanted. There wasn't abuse, but there was certainly harassment. So I learned not to raise my hand up if I knew the answer. I just didn't want to be seen. The first person who really helped me to understand and appreciate diversity, equity, and inclusion is my mom. Growing up in a military family, every 3 or 4 years we were moving. So our palates were rich with a variety of flavors. Those were the lessons of inclusion as well as the importance of embracing who you are. When I was a student at Calvin, I had thought for a while I was going to work for an upscale women's clothing store just for the discount. That's what I thought life was going to be. And then I took a sociology class. And that sociology class changed everything because we could talk about the absence of Black voices. We could talk about the absence of female voices. And I could see the questions that I had weren't stupid questions. These were good questions to ask. I really began to see myself as a scholar. And that's really what started me on this path. After graduate school, Dr. Rice reached out to me and said, Michelle, you want to come teach at Calvin? And I accepted, but I didn't see anyone like myself as an administrator at Calvin. Then there came this point where I asked the senior member in my academic department, where do you see me in 10 years? And he said, not here. And I was shocked. That was hard. That was hard. So I didn't volunteer for as much stuff afterwards. Why should I invest in the institution if the institution's not going to invest in me? I wanted the pain that I experienced at Calvin to mean something and to be worth it. Over the years, I was noticing that there's this tradition that when a faculty member retires, their picture goes up in their department, right? And I could see over the whole campus, there were no pictures of retired faculty of color because they didn't retire. I wanted a way to change the narrative, but I guess it's not going to be me. It's going to have to be somebody else because I made up my mind that I was going to leave Calvin. And then a new president came in and he asked if I would consider being the executive associate to the president for diversity and inclusion. It wasn't on my radar. I didn't think it was possible. But I have always felt that Calvin had its heart in the right place. It was just stumbling in how to get there when it comes to DEI. I saw that I could make a bigger impact. I can make a bigger difference, and that's what I wanted to do. But sometimes it's hard to believe that what I do makes a difference because I'm just a Black woman who lives in Muskegon Heights. In doing this work, because it's so hard, I need space to do my own processing. The Antioch podcast is life-saving. It started out as just coming together to do the podcast, and now it has evolved into a friendship. We just laugh, we share frustrations, we process some of the things that we're going through, and then at some point we press record, and then a podcast happens. We're not all the same. So we model what it is to disagree. We model what it is to have questions, and we model what it is to create a safe space for someone to just feel. If you would have told me in that intro to sociology class, I would have this kind of position and this kind of impact over the whole college and university, I wouldn't have believed you. I've been able to bring in marginalized voices as experts, not as victims. I developed the diversity model, helping to explain what is diversity, what is inclusion, and why at Calvin is this something that is important to us. I'm not the first person to speak about diversity at Calvin. I have just been fortunate to be in a position where I have been able to enact some changes on an institutional level. I've been doing this a long time, but a lot of times I'm just doing it afraid. I'm just doing it afraid. And in those moments, I sometimes go to my performance reviews that I had with President Michael Leroy. It just feels so affirming that someone knows that this is hard, appreciates the infrastructure building and the emotional toll that this work can take. Calvin is the best Christian university for doing diversity work. It really is. Do we do it perfectly? No, but we do it better than most. I am an anti-racist advocate because I have kids and grandkids, and I want their lives to be better. I want them to be seen and not be invisible. As I have come to really accept who I am, I've realized that this is not about me. This is something bigger than me. So to this current generation of Calvin students, I want you to embrace all of who you are and know that you are enough. So let your light shine because it's in you.